Most people don't misunderstand life. They misunderstand people, not because they're naive, not because they lack intelligence, but because early on we assume others move through the world with the same values we carry. We believe effort will be recognized, that sincerity will be respected, that patience will eventually be rewarded. Life doesn't rush to correct these beliefs. It lets us live with them, build our choices around them, trust them, until one day we're no longer young and no longer untouched, not because we wanted to change, but because life required us to understand. People don't change, they reveal. There's a truth many people only understand after they've paid for it. People don't change as much as we think. They become clearer when circumstances allow it. When someone has nothing, they can sound generous. When they hold no power, they can make sincere promises. But words spoken without leverage rarely reveal character. Only when someone has options, when they no longer need your approval, do their real priorities surface. That's why many relationships don't end because of conflict. They shift when positions change. When one person rises faster, when influence becomes uneven, when decisions no longer carry equal weight. Not everyone intends to betray you. Sometimes they simply stop pretending to value what they never truly did. People who understand this don't take it personally. They don't call it betrayal. They call it information. Information that clarifies who can walk with them long term and who was only meant for a chapter. Understanding this early saves you from unnecessary self-blame. You stop asking, "What did I do wrong?" and start realizing, this is who they've always been. I just see it now. Kindness requires boundaries. At some point in life, many people believe that being kind will make everything smoother, that if they don't calculate, others won't either, that giving first will naturally be returned. But real life doesn't operate on emotion. It operates on boundaries. The problem isn't kindness. The problem is kindness without limits. Kindness without boundaries is rarely respected. It's tested. People don't test how kind you are. They test how much you'll tolerate, how far they can go, how long you'll stay silent, how much you'll carry without pushing back. Those who've lived long enough understand this instinctively. They don't close themselves off. They simply stop overextending. They don't tell their whole story to people who haven't earned the right to hear it. They don't offer trust immediately. They let it be built through time and consistent behavior. This doesn't make them cold. It makes them safe, because not everyone who enters your life needs access to your inner world. Some people belong at the edges. Some relationships are meant to stay light. And some connections, no matter how intense at first, aren't built for the long road. Maturity isn't resentment, it's discernment. Boundaries aren't walls, they're filters, protecting what matters from wearing down too early. Understanding people matters more than being liked. There's a phase in life where being liked feels essential. We soften our words, hold back our truth, stay quiet to preserve harmony. We believe that if we're agreeable long enough, things will work out. But eventually, a harder realization arrives. Being liked is not the same as being respected. Some people smile at you daily while hoping you never move ahead of them. Some agree with you only because your silence keeps their position intact. Recognizing this doesn't make you cynical, it makes you awake. Those with experience don't chase universal approval. They observe more, listen more, and respond more slowly. They don't rush to label people as friends or allies. They let time and pressure do the revealing, because pressure exposes what politeness hides. When incentives appear, when stress enters the room, when there's something to lose, behavior changes. Not because people become worse, but because motives no longer need disguises. The wise don't expose this loudly. They quietly adjust distance. They know who to keep close, who to keep neutral, and who to let pass through without explanation. Adulthood doesn't arrive when many people like you. It arrives when you no longer need that to feel steady. Wise people don't argue everything. When we're younger, we believe truth should always be defended, that if we explain clearly enough, others will understand. That logic will restore fairness. Life eventually shows us something else. Not every conversation is seeking truth. Many arguments are about control, status, ego. Some people argue to protect identity. Others argue to maintain position. Some argue simply to avoid admitting they're wrong. Those who've lived through enough recognize this early. They don't need to win every discussion, they need to preserve clarity, because there are arguments where even if you're right, you still lose. You lose time, energy, and often your inner calm. The wise learn to step back before things become heavy. They know when to speak, and when silence is the better choice. This silence isn't fear, it's foresight. They see where the conversation leads before it gets there, and when you no longer feel compelled to prove yourself right, you gain a quiet kind of freedom. Circumstances shape behavior more than morals. We often judge character based on how people speak when life is stable. We assume goodness is fixed, that values remain intact under all conditions. Reality is less comforting. Circumstances often influence behavior more than declared principles. When life is safe, morality is easy. When nothing is at stake, kindness costs little. But when pressure rises, when security is threatened, when survival becomes central, choices change. Not always because people turn bad, but because priorities shift. Someone once generous may grow cold with power. Someone once loyal may retreat when safety disappears. Those who understand life aren't shocked by this. They don't idealize people, and they don't despair over them. They simply observe how others behave when incentives collide. They trust patterns, not promises. This doesn't make them suspicious. It makes them grounded. Those who see clearly move lighter. When you understand human nature, life doesn't become perfect, but it becomes lighter, not because people change, but because expectations do. You stop waiting for fairness from everyone. Stop taking everything personally. Stop over-explaining yourself. You no longer blame yourself for having trusted. Trust wasn't the mistake. Placement was. Those who see clearly don't shut the world out. They choose more carefully. They offer kindness where it's earned, silence where it's needed, distance where it protects peace. Their lives aren't louder, they're clearer. They know what to carry forward and what to set down. A quiet landing. Understanding people doesn't make you cold, it makes you calm. You no longer need to fight life or win against others. You just need enough clarity to stay aligned, enough awareness to avoid unnecessary wounds, and enough quiet to keep walking forward without losing what matters most inside.